So can you honestly tell me, Ms. Garrett, that you had nothing to do with his murder?
I did not have anything to do with his murder. And if you check around, if you've done research that you say you've done, there'll be a lot of people to tell you that.
This is Lisbeth Garrett, an unassuming grandmother hiding a deadly secret for 36 years. In January 1977, Lisbeth's husband, decorated U.S. Army Major Chester Garrett, disappears from their home in Texas. The next day, Chester's body is discovered inside his Volkswagen Beetle, abandoned in the desert outside the city. The 35-year-old Vietnam veteran has been brutally beaten and stabbed. Detectives launch a homicide investigation, but with little physical evidence and few witnesses, they quickly run out of leads. For more than 3 decades, Chester Garrett's murder remains unsolved. Then, in 2013, a new tip brings the investigation roaring back to life. But the deeper investigators dig into Chester Garrett's death, the more their attention turns to Lisbeth Garrett. Now, nearly 40 years after her husband's murder, detectives are finally ready to hear Lisbeth's side of the story in a full police interrogation. Investigators have no idea that by digging into this 36-year-old cold case, they're about to unravel a shocking story of family secrets, greed, and betrayal.
Okay, let me explain to you what's happening here, okay? And I don't know what the detectives told you.
Nothing.
Down
They
there.
really didn't. I was more interested in what's going to happen to my dog and cat.
Okay, now don't worry about that. We'll take care of
I
that.
didn't know what's going on.
Okay.
I expected to be cuffed or something like that. I had to drive a car around to hit anybody.
Nah, we wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, let me explain, okay? There has been a warrant for your arrest issued, okay? And the warrant charges you with murder of Chester Garrett. Let me finish, okay? What I want you to know also, and a lot of this stuff I don't have to tell you, but I think you have the right to know all this. Okay. There has also been a warrant issued for Roger Garrett's arrest. Right now, I have 2 detectives from here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and they have him in custody. Okay? So, all of that having been said, what can you tell us about?
Well, I'll tell you exactly my feelings. When my husband was murdered, I went before a grand jury, and all of this was discussed. We went through everything. And of course, it was a very long time ago, and a lot of things I'm sure I don't remember, but I gave them all the information that I had. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm thinking, because Roger is the good seed.
Okay.
You've seen that movie, The Good Seed, The Bad Seed? Yes. Patrick is the evil one. He probably were here waiting to get into Gallic, which is my residence in Sylvia.
Yes, ma'am, I know that.
I know.
That's okay.
You know everything.
That's okay. I want you to tell me everything.
Yeah. I think it's Patrick's plan that if he can come up with something, and I'm not thinking just clearly right now, so I don't know exactly what it is, but
Relax.
yeah,
Take time.
I think he thinks he'll get that house, and that if he sells that, he can pay off his debts, and he has a place to live, and that he's going to be on the easy street. And that's one thing I can think of. That's it. That's a way for him not to have to. He tells people, he gets on the internet and he tells people he has all kinds of degrees. Patrick's never gotten any kind of a degree, and unless it's one that's mailed to you through the mail. And that's one thing I can think of. I'm 74 years old. If he waits long enough, and I will everything to Roger, which I certainly would, but I would give $1 to Patrick. He would get $1. That's all he deserved as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, but what are you saying insofar when you went to court on the charge before? You said that you had gone to court before and that you had gone through a grand jury.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what exactly happened during that time?
They asked me all kinds of questions, and they told me not ever to discuss it, and I haven't. But they asked me all kinds of questions, everything they could think of. They covered a time frame. It was like a wonderful book report or an outline that a student would give. They covered everything, from everything that I could remember, and I don't know what else to say. They were very, very thorough.
Okay. Now is it today's February 7th, 2013. It's 5:25 p.m.
Right.
And again, I'm sorry to know that. This is a long time ago. And you understand that I've read you your Miranda rights. Okay. And you understand that there is a warrant for your arrest issued, charging you with the murder of Chester Garrett. Do you understand that?
That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, I just need you to, give me a yes or a no,
Yes.
and then I can start.
And that's what we're really trying to do, Ms. Garrett, is, talk to you about that situation. You're being charged with murder of Chester Garrett, and what you could tell us about that.
I can't tell you anything about it because I don't know anything about it. The only thing I remember is he came by the house. He was in a BOQ at the time. He was living in a BOQ, and he would come over when he wanted to read in the refrigerator or see what I had cooked or whatever it was. And we were on orders for Italy, Naples, Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And he had arranged for Roger to be able to go to school in Naples. And we were trying to see what we were going to do. And like one day it would be, we were going to go, or the next day.
What was the reason that he was staying at BOQ and he was not living with you at the time?
He had a very violent temper. There are police records. But he told me if I ever, he had a real bad habit, and I think this was wrong with my eyes. He would pick me, he was a real big strong man, really big strong. He would pick me up by the neck and knock my head into the wall, and every place we knew there'd be a hole in the wall somewhere in the back of my head, and knock a hole in it. And he said if I ever turned it into Beaumont, that the three of us, Roger, Kath, and me, would, and I'm going to tell you something that'll shake you up here, because it did me when I was watching television probably a year ago and heard this on there. But he said the three of you will disappear. No one will ever know where you are. If you're found, you'll never know what it was that killed you. You'll never know what it was that killed you. And I will be no place around anywhere close to where you guys.
And this is Chet saying that.
This is Chet saying that. He said it only to me. No one else heard it. And he described what happened. He said all three of you will be paralyzed immediately. You'll be able to see, and you'll be able to hear, but you can't move. And it will eventually stop your heart. And no one will know what it was. And I happened to be watching something, I guess it was a year or so, I'm not sure when, but the name of that, and now he was Special Forces, Green Beret, everything. I mean, highly, highly, highly decorated. If you wanted to follow someone into duty and know he was well trained in the best it was Chet. The name of that stuff was something like Suxolol, something like that. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not. But it is a poison that not everyone gets their hands on. But of course, he had things as a special forces officer that other people wouldn't get. And when I was working on my master's degree, I was taking a course, in fact, out here at Fort Bliss, and there was a guy who said, "Could I see you after class?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You know, that name's Garrett." I said, "Right." And he said, "You're not the chief's wife, are you?" And I said, "Well, that's what they used to call him. Chet, they used to call him the chief." And he said, I don't know your husband, but I heard of him. He had 2 reconnaissance people. They called them Pete and Repeat because they were the best you could ever get. And Chet was the best. I had all kinds of things. He won everything except the Medal of Honor. He has had every award you could get except the Medal of Honor. And he did what he did, and he did it well. And you asked me a question, I forgot. When they call to ask questions, that's what it was. They asked questions about everything involved with that, like what he ate when he was at the house. And I don't even remember if I remember it at the time. More than whatever was in the refrigerator.
Did they ever discuss with you the fact that you might have talked to Roger, convincing Roger that this was a bad man, that he was hurting you, and that the best thing to do would be to get rid of him, to conspire to commit this murder between you and Roger?
No, Roger knew how he lived and what was going on. No. The only thing was that there was a doctor, a psychologist, that talked to Roger, and I'm not sure of Pat. Chet and Pat had a real hard time getting along with each other. They didn't get along with each other. And the doctors, let me see, there were several doctors. Seems like it was Demore or something like that. But he told me if I ever needed anything to call him. And he said that I had to be careful because Chet really had a problem with Patrick. And I said, "Well, Roger," and he says, "No." And see, Roger's my son from a previous marriage.
Right.
And I guess that's why. In fact, if anything, he was very nice to Roger. I don't remember that he ever spanked him or anything, but I remember he would pull Patrick up and whack him and whack him. And once Pat had a fracture in his ankle when we were playing baseball, Chet played baseball for the Cubs for a short time. But his temper, I talked to his mom and I said, "Well, it was bad. He threw his arm out." And she said, "What do you mean he threw his arm out?" I said, "Well, when he was playing for the Cubs, he threw his arm out." She said, "No, I didn't." I said, "Oh, well, why is he not playing?" She said, "It's his temper. It's his temper. He had a violent temper."
Let's do this, Miss Garrett. Let's go back to.
See, I don't know what you want.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's all right.
I'll hit on
I
it.
said, we kind of asked you some general questions. We wanted to get, a little bit of an overview of things. Let's go to the night before his death. What do you remember about that?
Very well. That's not something you think about.
I know that
I'm trying to think first. I don't know when the last time I saw him.
I know that he came over to the house.
Okay.
And that would have been the night before.
Okay. Okay, I know he ate. And I know he was going for a run. So it must not have been late. It must have been the daytime. And that's the last time I saw him.
What did you all talk about? Because he wasn't living there.
No, he was in
He was living
the
on days.
yeah. And sometimes I would go over to the VOP, he'd call, and that's what I had, and I'd take something over to him. What did we talk about? I don't think we talked about anything.
Do you know the reason that he went over there?
Went over
To the Bacchus house? To your house?
To your
on
house.
Bacchus?
probably to eat something. Yeah. But I don't remember. I don't know if he called or, I don't remember.
Do you remember maybe you giving them a call, asking them to come over to the house or anything like that? And the boys, where were the boys at?
I guess they were, yeah. I don't remember that. You know, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know it was. I
Yeah,
know it was.
I don't know, but he probably came over to eat something. That's probably what it was. Or it might have been about the trip. You know, it could have been about, whenever you had property, you had to arrange for your property to be leased or rented or whatever it was while you were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And usually what would happen, if you owned it, it would be an military family who would stay in your house while you were on assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And we had groups that we would all sometimes get the same orders. We get orders at Benning or Bragg or Fort Campbell or something like that. And it would be a lot of the same people that we were with.
How did you get to your house that day? Do you remember? Did you drive out there? Did you get a ride?
Oh, yeah, he had a Volkswagen.
Yeah, Volkswagen.
And I had a, I don't remember what kind of car I had at the time. It was a big one, so we could all go in it. And the Volkswagen was so that we could, just fiddle around in the car. It was a fun car to drive. In fact, Bob Hoy never gave that car back. Bob Hoy had the car. And I never saw that car. Ever.
What do you mean they had the car?
The car, they said, somebody told me they went to Bob Hoy and it was, my husband was in my car, the Volkswagen. Sometimes I'd drive it, most time he would drive it to work. But sometimes I would drive it because it was fun little car to drive. And I never got the car back.
So you're saying that Bob Hoy took the car after shit had died?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what they said, that it was at Bob Hoy's.
You said that the boys were at the house the night before?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay. Patrick was at the movies. Does that help you at all?
Patrick said movies. Oh, well, yeah, I think he was at the movies. I don't remember who he was with. But he could have, yeah. Seems like they wanted to do something before they went back to school. I don't know. Going back after the holidays.
Do you remember him being at the movies?
Not really. You know, that's just not something you go back and think about. You go back to think about the time we spent Christmas out in California. You know, and you saw Mickey Mouse. And those are the things you think about when you go back and think about your family. But no, I don't.
When the officers came to the house the next day, after Chester was there that night, then
You know, I don't think officers did. I think, well, maybe they did. His CO came to the house.
Mhm.
And I don't remember his name either.
that's okay. And they informed you of his death. What do you remember about that?
Did they tell you sort of like where he had been found? What were the circumstances around his?
I don't think so.
You don't remember exactly what they might have
No, I
said?
think, I don't know when they told, somebody told me, something about it, but I think the first thing they wanted to do was, I don't think it was dressed. I think they wanted you to get dressed and to go down and shoot them all.
2 months.
And did you do that?
I did, but I don't even remember it. Speaking, Patrick told me, he said, I remember you screaming. Anyway,
Do you know where Roger was the night before? I mean, we know that Patrick was at the movies.
seems to me like somebody was at our house playing some games. But I don't remember.
And then the next thing that probably would have happened would have been the officers asking you for a statement about what had been going on.
I don't remember that at all. I just remember they said that they wanted me to go down.
Do you remember giving a statement to officers?
No. 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 I don't remember at all.
But you remember going before the grand jury?
Yes, I do. I remember that.
You know how you were saying right now that during that grand jury, that they went through a very thorough investigation.
Mm-hmm.
They had you all up there, they were asking you questions.
No, it wasn't. No, it was me about myself.
Okay.
And they said, everything was discussed here. You're not ever to repeat.
Right.
And I thought, okay.
Yeah. And the point I'm trying to make, Ms. Garrett, is that just as thorough as they had been when this first happened, and to this day, up until, we were still looking into the different possibilities, different things, we've actually done a lot of work on it.
Mm-hmm.
All the work that's been done has been very thorough. And if we didn't have factual information saying that you had in fact something to do with the death of your husband, you wouldn't be here now. I mean, what do you say? I mean, what do you think? I mean, is it something that...
Oh, I had nothing to do with Chet's death. I spoke to someone that was taking a course with me that was telling me that, of course this is hearsay and I don't know how clear you all have been, but that there were 2 of Chet's men who had threatened him because he was running around with their wives.
That was all disproved.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's what I...
Yeah. Like I said, as part of the original investigation, that was all handled and disproved. Like Detective
Well,
Machado.
his sister, Chet's sister, told me that she saw him at the top of a really popular restaurant here. This way up high, you go over the the city.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know which one it was.
Mhm.
And that he was having dinner with someone that looked like my twin sister.
We hadn't heard anything about that.
Let me ask you this, like, take Monsanto said, you tell us why anyone would say that you had something to do with Chester's death. Why would that even come up?
Well, I don't know. The only people the people that told me that I needed to get away from him, divorce him, do whatever I needed to do were doctors at Beaumont. From what was happening to me physically and from what was happening to Patrick. And they're the ones who told me that. And I'm going to tell you something that's important. The doctor said it was important. I had an ankle that started to swell, and there used to be a bowling lane right next to the emergency room at Beaumont, and I couldn't walk on my foot. It was getting worse and worse, and it was getting bigger and bigger. And I went out to the emergency room, and they do a triage. And while I was sitting there, it kept getting larger and larger, and the nurse was watching it, and she said, "I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to go upstairs and get one of our doctors who would be able to, I guess, had some experience with something like this, and bring him down." Well, by the time she went up and got the doctor and came back down, the other ankle looked just like it. And they had put me in a wheelchair. And I was in the hospital. And I don't know who came to get the place. It was one of the neighbors. I just don't remember. But there were 6 doctors. And they were on the phone daily with the Center for Disease Control. And every time they were on the phone, Chet was there to hear what was being said. And one of the doctors came in by himself, and he said, "Now, this is not on the record. If anybody asks you if I said this, I'm not going to be able to tell you I did. But I'm going to tell you, if anybody brings any food in here to you other than the nursing staff that comes from our kitchen, don't eat it and don't drink it." And he said, "That's all I'm going to tell you. Just remember that. Just don't do it."
And you're saying that because you think you might have been poisoned?
How could I take it?
Yeah.
You know, he told me not to say anything about that.
Who would have been responsible for that? For trying to do that to you?
Was anybody bringing you food into the hospital?
Chili. He would bring shakes, and I think that's all he would bring. I don't know, but I did what they told me to do. I only had hospital food, and one of the doctors told me, he said, "We don't talk to the Center for Disease Control." He said, "Your husband's there to hear every word that we say." So I don't know, but I do know that.
Okay. Well, we know that there were a lot of problems between.
Well, you know,
You
when
and
you send
Chester.
someone to Vietnam back to back to back, they don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
But when you do that, and he was trained to do that, he was very good at what he did. You're going to have some breakdowns, and we see that today very much. It
Right.
doesn't happen anymore. They don't do that anymore. But that's what had happened with them, back to back to back. And he told me, said, if you file for divorce, you'll never live to talk about it.
But you did file for divorce at one time,
I
did you not?
did file divorce.
And like I said, we know that there were a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Back and forth
I had the police out,
between you and Chester.
and I was also told that if I filed again, that would be the last time. And I have to tell you, he had the best training in the world. If you wanted to get through Vietnam without being killed, you follow him. But also, he knew exactly what to do when. And I was terrified. If you tell me not to do something or to do it, I did it. And like I
Were
told you,
you terrified enough to conspire with someone else to have him killed?
no, but I was terrified enough to when he would be gone, to try to figure out a way to go ahead and get a divorce and leave. And then,
And that would have been the best case scenario.
Absolutely.
If you're so afraid of him, he's abusive or whatever, the best thing would have been for him to go overseas as his plans were.
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So can you honestly tell me, Garrett, that you had nothing to do with his murder?
I did not have anything to do with his murder. And if you check around, if you've done research that you say you've done, there'll be a lot of people to tell you that. There'll be a lot of people saying,
And we have, Ms. Garrett, and that's why we bring that up, because we have talked to a lot of people. And
I
we're
came
going
to
back
we were at a
several years.
baseball game one time, and Patrick had a hairline fracture, and he had a cast on there. And he was playing ball, and he was running from base to base with the cast on there. And he wasn't running fast enough, and Chet came along and gave him a whack. And a man came around, I don't even know where he was, a dad, and he said, why do you put up with that? This kid has a fracture, whatever it was, and he's making the bases the best he can, and your husband comes around, and why doesn't somebody do something about that?
Right.
And, well, I'm not going to do it. If you could see me standing next to him, it would be a joke to think that I was going to do
Because
it.
he's a very big man.
Very big, and it's very, very strong. Our happiest times, and our very happiest times were when we were traveling from one coast to the other. He wasn't in the military. He wasn't getting everything he had to do. He had free time. We just stopped at, like where I'm staying at now, on a Super 8 or whatever, where there was a pool. He and the boys, well, I would sleep late in the mornings, and because I was always tired after a leave, it was really, really hard. And he knew what clothes I wore together. He would have my clothes on the bed, the suitcase packed up, everything done. All I had to do was get dressed, and they would get out of the pool, and we would go have breakfast. I mean, it was the perfect life, just like Father knows best.
Okay.
And
That's everybody has their good times, everybody has their bad times. What can you tell us about the times that you and Roger went to his quarters on Fort Bliss, and there was
Young lady.
another female there?
oh, well, I'll tell you about that. He wasn't there, but there was a female there in the bed, and there was a belt on the bed. And I took the belt and I popped her a couple of times and told her to get out. And that he was a married man, we were having problems, and we didn't need anyone else involved. And that I was going to file charges against her. I didn't. Because he wasn't too happy about that. Because it was conduct and becoming an officer and a gentleman, and he could have gotten into a lot of trouble about it.
What about the iron?
An iron? I don't know.
Did you hit her with an iron also?
No.
No?
No. I don't know what iron.
clothes iron?
No.
And this, of course, is coming, I guess, from at the time from her. And this is what they looked into, and this is what she reported. That you had
No, I hit her with a belt.
on iron.
I hit her with,
And knocked her out. She went unconscious.
Oh.
Something like that.
no.
Went to the hospital?
No, I'm not, I don't really beating people up. I don't know if you noticed, I'm not the biggest person in the world, but I wouldn't even if I were the biggest person. The only thing I did to her was hit her with the belt.
Okay.
I did hit her sharply with the belt. She was in the bed without any clothes on, and I did that.
And Roger was there with you?
Right, Patrick was there also.
Both of the boys were there?
They saw it. They know.
Did you, at some point, take this same person to a baseball game that Chester was playing
Hey, who?
in? This same female?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Thank
I've
you.
got to ask you the question.
Okay.
I got to ask you the question.
He did not, Chet didn't play any baseball here. The only time he played baseball was when we were in Panama. And he
He has
has
a team here,
a,
a baseball team here.
oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're, I'm sorry. I'm thinking, adults. Yeah, he had a kid team.
Right.
Yes, he did. He had, I don't know how old they were.
I guess he was sort of coaching these young kids.
Yeah, he was helping them out.
out.
Yeah, because like I say, he had played for the Cubs for a while, and yeah, he was helping out. I was saying in Panama, he played on a baseball team, and that's the only time I ever got to see him play was that time, and it was fun. He was a pitcher, and I hadn't heard the expression. I made an idiot out of myself. I didn't know what rag-on meant. I didn't know that it was. It's okay to call a pitcher a rag-on, but it's not really derogatory. Because there was a guy calling him a rag-on there, and I said, "That's my husband we're talking about. He's pitching, and I appreciate it if you wouldn't say that." And the guy kind of laughed, and then I told Chad about it. And he said, "Well, that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to say." So I wasn't real savvy on baseball.
Okay. But you say that you never took this female, her name was Molina. What's her last name?
If I did, it was in another life. No, I don't know why I would have done that.
Well,
That would be kind of like rubbing alcohol into a cut or something like that.
Was she the only female that you were aware of that might have been?
No. Every time we went to any military post, every single time, bar none, I would get a phone call telling me, "Do you know that your husband has a girlfriend?" And I'd say no. And they'd say, "Well, he does." And I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do about it?" "Well, you should do something about it. You shouldn't let him do that." And I said, "Well, unless you tell me who it is, or who you are, or what I can do, I'm not a magician. There's nothing I can do. I don't go to work with him and sit there and watch him."
Mhm.
And, I feel that way about it. I'm not doing anything. And, when you do something, it's not, you may have to pay for it on earth, but you're going to ultimately pay for it. Everything's down there. Unless you change your ways and get straight with the Lord, you're going to be paying for it. It's going to come to you one way or another. It's going to. But every post we went to, that would be what happened. So I don't know. I wondered a couple of times if it was somebody that, like I said, we had a group, there were so many couples that would get transferred to Fort Benning, Fort Bragg, Fort Campbell, Panama, wherever it was we were going. It was cold in here.
Let me see if I can turn that down a little bit. Can I get
See how,
Yeah. Can I get you something to drink?
if you don't mind,
What would you like?
anything.
Okay.
That
Let me
you said
grab
you had
let me grab you something, see if I can turn that
Okay.
blower down.
Oh, those are, they keep your feet warm.
Oh, yes, they do.
Do you have to run after people sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes you do.
Really?
Yeah.
So you have to,
So you can imagine.
go on the range and run and keep in shape and do all this stuff.
There you go. There you go.
Well, at least you got nice long legs. Yeah, they look really, really. I was going to get some of those for,
And wear them now? Really? And wear them now? These guys, if your ankles wouldn't get cold, huh?
No, what I was thinking about, there was a couple of places that, they had a special on, it's a show, they show the places where they have gold and diamonds and gold, you know, those different places. And this place had you could go to, it was like a creek, a part of a creek, and you actually pan for gold.
Really?
But I'm trying to think if it was at the hills of Black Mountain, not Black Mountain, something like that. But they actually had diamonds and gold, and the people had these little pick things that they took out of the rock that was in the. When you stand up, you walk around, and you had to kind of be careful. Because some of it wasn't real high, but you had to be careful. And they would pick out emeralds, and it showed this reporter that was out doing a report on the place, and she found gold and.
I guess you get to keep all whatever you
She
find.
did, yeah. Whatever you pay, I think $5.
Oh, wow.
They go in, and a little boy paid $5, and he found a piece of gold that was like this.
Mm-hmm.
The largest one that had ever been found. I think he was 8 or 9 years old.
Wow. What are the odds, right?
But I was going to get some loose like that, so I could.
Go on that trail?
Yeah, but I think I'm too old now. 74 is too long.
Oh, you're never too old.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But they look like they really do. Plus, I haven't twisted my ankle or anything, but it looks like it would keep you from.
It does. It keeps your feet warm and everything. How have you been doing that? Because you're living at the house by yourself, right? Are you
No,
doing
I'm not in the house.
Or you're not?
I can't be in the house because there's a water leak somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know where it is, and I can't have heat because if you heat the water heater.
So they have to turn off all the utilities? Is that what happened?
No, I have electricity over there. I was over there a night or two with the a little electric heater, but Linda didn't want me over there. She said, "I just don't want you over there. It's too cold." And
Because I mean that would be a big concern. I mean,
yeah, she said,
you're
so
you're doing okay, and
you know, there's $1,000 owed where I'm staying right now, and
is that at the motel?
$1,000 owed, and I have to pay it when I leave.
Oh,
I have to pay it when I leave, so. I'm really concerned about that. There are things I could go in if I had a way to sell some of the things in Gallic, but I don't know how to do it. Let's put an ad in the newspaper, and then I'd have to be at Gallic to be there when they were there.
Right.
I couldn't say come to a motel. That would sound kind of fishy to have someone come to a motel to buy these things. Kind of sound like maybe you stole them or something. Because I saw a shirt like that one time. Thank you.
And they're trying to get these blowers
Oh, thank you.
Turned off.
You know, my
pulled down a little bit.
Oh, no, sweet, bro.
Put on at least one or keep one here.
Oh, excuse me.
You know, I'm just kind of trying to, I'm trying to think of what could be going through your mind right now. I mean, you know, supervisor said, Roger's been taken into custody in Tennessee. You know, he's under arrest for the same thing, for the, murder.
Well, I'm thinking about him, you know. Roger's the nicest kid you want. He's not a kid, but he's a hardworking person. He takes care of his family. They've been trying to get me to come up there, and I said, yes, I definitely will. And he always gets, he works really hard, at all his jobs, he's always promoted, and not only is he promoted, he teaches other people how to do things, and he revises things, and he's a very gentle person. He doesn't, and he's not a big person. He's kind of small like I am, and well, he's bigger than I am, but everybody's bigger than I am.
But just wondering, like you're describing him as a very, he's got a good life spirit. I mean, he's doing well. He's married. He's got his career, whatever. And what do you think he might be saying to those detectives out there? I mean, I would think that he's gonna come out and say, you know what, telling what he knows about what happened that night, because he doesn't want to. He's got everything to lose there.
Well, sure,
and we would think that he would say the truth, and that's what we're looking for.
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would. But now you gotta go back. That's been what, 35 years? And
yes,
and remembering times and places and things like that. Plus, like I said, you don't sit around and think, well, let me think of it at the time that we had this happen.
What about him telling anybody what he had done?
Well, he hasn't done anything. Roger hasn't done anything.
Well, there are a few instances where Roger had taken Chester's Volkswagen when he was at an apartment house over in Northeast.
Wait a minute. Roger was at an apartment house?
No, Chester was at an apartment house in Northeast, and Roger, supposedly he was over there with another woman. Roger went and took his Volkswagen so that he would be stuck there. He stole the Volkswagen. There was a police report filed.
Well, first of all, how would Roger have keys to the Volkswagen?
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
How many sets of keys are there to that?
I have no idea. I know the only one person who drive it at a time is, I don't know. I only have one set to my car, but I think I only have one set. I may have another. I don't know. Like I'm saying, that's a long time ago. Maybe we each have a set. I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Fair enough. And like I said, now we know, and I'm going to tell you what I know, and I've got no reason to tell you anything different.
I understand.
You know,
I understand. You just got to
that's not
remember
my-
that's been a long time ago.
No, and I do understand that. I absolutely do. There were several occasions that Roger had gone to, I believe it was a Colonel Hall. You remember him at all?
Yeah, that was just,
Okay. And
no, Roger and I went together. One.
Roger had gone by himself also.
I didn't know.
Yeah. And I'm just telling you
I
what
we,
there was a lot of stuff going on back then.
I wanted to talk to Colonel Hall, and because in the military, an officer and a gentleman is supposed to be an officer and a gentleman,
Mhm.
and he doesn't do things like that. You're not an officer and a gentleman when you do things like that. And I don't know who the people were to call me, but every single time when we got orders to go to a new post, I would get phone calls telling me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, at some time, it's like, duh. I know this cannot be the same person calling me, but calling us around.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be some truth to it. And he's got to be not too careful about it. And doesn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I never said anything. We had a lot of functions we had to go to, and I said nothing to anyone. I didn't treat him any differently. I was always by his side, usually had my hand in his. Those are things you don't want your dirty language and linen clothing in public.
Especially 35 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you know who I used to call when I had problems with Chester? You're going to fall over, but if you are in touch with his sisters, they'll tell you. I called his mother. And she said, "Why are you telling me this?" And I said, "I'll tell you exactly why. If I tell my mother, she'll never forgive him. She will never forgive him. She will despise him. If I tell you, he's your son, you love him, you're probably going to cheer him out.
Mhm.
And don't like that, he's going to be embarrassed." And that's precisely what she did. And she told me, she said, she called me in. She said, "Anytime you need to talk, pick up the phone."
Give her a call.
And I understand, I understand from your point of view, he's often doing what he's often doing. And like I said,
Yeah, but then again,
we know that there were a lot of incidents and
but we were close to because,
several other women involved here throughout the course of it.
I didn't
know
know that. And I just said, no.
And like I said, and I'm sorry.
No,
I mean you absolutely no disrespect.
I know you don't.
None of
And I don't take it, but you know what? I wasn't the adulteress. And I never would have been, regardless of what he did.
Right.
There was a man who was teaching when we lived on Hondo Pass. He was a former Marine, and he was coaching Rogers' age children.
Mm-hmm.
And he played for the, I'm trying to think if it was baseball or football. I don't remember which one it was. It was baseball or football, but anyway,
Probably baseball.
he was coaching Roger, and his name, I think it was Ted Hogan, and he knew something that I didn't know, because he said, we did not have a relationship. God certainly did. We didn't. We were friends. We talked. He came over. The house was across the street. Here was Stanton School and Hondo Pass, on Hondo Pass, and our house was right across the street from it. Sometimes after practice, he would come over and chit chat. And I showed him more pictures of family were on there and all. And he said, "I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but I want you and the boys to come with me back home. And I don't really stay in the dream." And it was kind of a cold state. And he said, "All my family's up there." And he said, "I want you all as my family." And I said, "You're telling me my husband's in Vietnam, and you want me to divorce him while he's over there and go with you?" And he said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "Well, I can't do that, and I wouldn't do that." And I don't know what he knew, but he must have known something, but I didn't push it. I just didn't push it. But like I say, I talked to my mother-in-law, and I know it finally Chet really, really angry to know that I did that, but I thought that was the right thing to do. I thought that was giving him nicer behavior than he was giving to me. And like I said, I don't know how many women there were, and I don't care. I know it's not important. It's in the past, it's in the past. And he has to answer for it, I don't. So.
And I can certainly respect that, because I know that must have made you feel stuck. And again, I'm sorry to be the one to have to bring all this up to you, but these are the questions that I have to ask you. What can you tell us about when Patrick's sons
Which one?
When Patrick's sons were taken from his ex-wife?
When his sons
Uh-huh.
were taken from
Did Patrick go after, when they were separated or when they were divorced? Did, Patrick go and pick the sons up and take them from Missouri?
You're gonna have to, I don't know, I wasn't up there, I wasn't there when that happened. I live in Texas, so,
Right. You don't remember?
well, Ian, you know, he never forgave Jeannie because, Ian started having pains in his leg.
Mhm.
And he told his mother, and she wouldn't take him to the doctor. She said, the growing pains. And he kept telling them getting worse and getting worse. And she wouldn't take him.
Well, we had heard that she took him, but he was misdiagnosed. They misdiagnosed what the actual problem was.
They may have, but I know that it went away for a time. It seemed to go away. It was the kind of cancer that old people like me usually get. And it seemed to have gone away. And then it came back with a vengeance.
Right.
And started.
What can you tell us about Jeannie?
What kind of person was she?
Nice, really nice.
Was she? What happened between her and Patrick?
I don't know, it's probably country. I don't know. He said that Patrick told me that she liked to go out and dance and sing and everything. And that just wasn't his thing. Of course, I'm a homebody too, so I understand that. But you know, unfortunately, I got to know a side of Patrick that I never knew before. I'm always, you've heard the Lou and Mark, if you want to know if someone's lying, if their mouth is open. Patrick has some tall tales. And
What about Roger's ex-wife?
Teresa?
Teresa,
Uh-huh.
I think that was
Before
his first wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His first wife.
okay, Roger's first wife's name was,
So what was Teresa?
no, it wasn't Teresa.
No?
It was, sweet girl. Delaney was her last name, something like that. Delaney.
So you got along with them pretty well. I mean,
Yeah, she,
Roger's wife at the time.
yeah, the first one was, Roger's he loves to learn. I taught him how to do algebra and how to read when he was 3 and 4 years old. And he loved to learn, and I loved to teach him. And I would play with him, and he would learn things while he was playing. And her family was not so much into education, but his wife was really, really sweet, and I liked her very much. And Roger said, you know, we were really mismatched. We just, you know,
So you all got along pretty
Yeah,
good.
we did.
And there's no reason why.
we shopped together and all kinds of stuff.
Teresa Heffelfinger?
Huh?
Teresa.
Oh, Huffle famous.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't even know her. I think she's one that lived in a trailer. I didn't know her. I think I met her one time. And I don't think they were married very long. In fact, I remember thinking, why didn't they just have it at all? I think she was the one in the
So
trailer.
then there was actually 2 marriages before this one.
Yeah.
Maybe?
But he and Susan really worked together. Well, they try to do things as a pair, and they work together really well. And Susan has no need for Patrick though, and when we talked some time ago, she said, "We want you here," and I said, "Well, I want to get there too. I just have to do all the steps, to get there."
Right.
And they realized too, I'm 74, you're gonna have to help me. I need help with this. And so, she said, where we are, it's a little, kind of a little complex. And she said they love animals.
So you can take that, you can take your dog and have your dog there, which would be
Yeah.
important, right?
Right, absolutely. And that it's, she told me the price of it. She said, "You think you can afford that?" And I said, "Well, we'll see." And she said, they have 2 bedrooms and 1 bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Well, I'm trying to become a minimalist, even though I have probably 80 elephants in my house." I didn't even realize I collected some years ago. "You collect elephants?" I said, "No, I don't."
Just a few, right?
Well, it was my sister-in-law, and she said, "And you got 22 elephants in this one room." I said, "Oh, you're kidding." And,
When you come there,
Yeah,
sure
I
enough,
did.
right?
but, she's really nice. And I thought, well, probably 1 bedroom would be all I would need, because I don't cook like I used to. I don't do anything like I used to. I sleep a lot. I thought that would be great. They have a couple of little chihuahuas, and then they have the Shar-Pei dog that I fell in love with, and they didn't like. I don't remember why they didn't have that Shar-Pei dog, but I just love that dog. First time I saw him, I just went down on my knees and gave him a kiss on the cheek. It's the first time I'd ever seen one. No,
All the hair on the face.
no, they don't have hair.
Oh, the wrinkles.
The wrinkles.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you look at them on TV or something, you can't really see what you look like. They are the sweetest dogs in the world. And I used to take them for a walk, and she said, "Now, when you get out on the road and you're walking up the street there, he will go on ahead of you, and don't worry, because he'll be gone in an hour and then he'll come back."
But,
So,
let me ask you a couple of questions, Mr.
yeah, don't talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry?
Don't talk about Ian.
No. And actually, so this whole thing is not about any of the grandchildren, none of that. This whole thing is about Chester, you, and Roger. That's what this is all about. Okay?
That's great.
Back in 1991. I know, I'm throwing some numbers at you. Back in 1991, you were living, I believe, at the Gaelic.
I still have the house. That's the one that has the leak.
Roger and Patrick
Mhm.
were there. And Patrick's wife,
Jeannie.
Jeannie.
Mm-hmm.
No, Jeannie didn't live there. She
But she would have been with Patrick at that time. Well, 1991, where they might have maybe visited with you.
yeah, that could
Or
have been.
something.
They could have brought the baby.
Roger was there also.
I don't
There
remember,
was,
but
there was a discussion between Roger and Patrick believe, taking place on the porch.
I don't know that either.
Never heard of that.
Well, we had two porches, I don't know which one.
This would have been the one in front of the garage, I believe.
I don't remember, but
And that would be hard to,
yeah, there's a porch on the front and a porch on the back.
Do you remember anything about the conversation that they were having?
I don't know what they're talking about. If you tell me, I might.
Okay. Let me ask you. Why do we have so many people telling us that you and Roger are responsible for Chester's death?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I know that someone was telling me that, and I don't remember who it was, but I think that is the time. Roger had a little period of time when I probably shouldn't say this.
Well, right now, there probably isn't anything that you shouldn't say.
Well, there was a time when he messed around with cocaine.
And we know about it.
Okay. Well, I didn't know about that. And sometimes he would say things for attention. And I think that's what he did for one night and on day, whatever. Because I had a friend that was from Germany, and we used to kick around all the time, and we had a lot of fun. We used to take care of Austin, and he was telling me about stuff that Roger was saying, that he said he thinks he's coming on as a big shot, but he's not doing that. In fact, I think he's sitting out in the garage and told me that, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about asking me if Roger was sniffing cocaine. I said, I don't know.
or you're not really aware of what kind of stories he might have been talking about or anything like
No,
that?
because there was a time when Roger went through the crazies. It was like he would come out with stuff that was idiotic, but to him it would be like, oh, well, look what he did. He did, some big deal or something like that. And it just really absolutely didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to remember, I'm a high school teacher. I hear all kinds of baloney, and you get so you can kind of push some of this out of the way as if, just this child is living with one parent that's barely home around, working on 3 jobs, and this student has a job on the side, and believe me, that happens all the time right here. And sometimes you just kind of know,
There's something going on there.
yeah, but you can't always believe all of it either, because sometimes they just need attention. There are lots of children and lots of high school kids who are at home by themselves all the time. Their mother works in the daytime and their dad works at night and they're home alone. And we were doing we were at a circle in one of our classes talking about hobbies that we had and things that we like to do, and that something that we might like to do in the future. And our girl used an expression I can't remember what it was.
You know what, done,
Let me-
yeah.
Let me, because, like I said, I wanna keep this kind of focused.
Oh, we have just what we know,
Just some certain.
what we
Okay.
have.
Now, like I said, we know about the little bout with cocaine and all of that too. But what would you say to me if I told you that in 1995, Roger confessed to killing his father?
Why would he do that?
I'm sorry?
Why would he do that? Why would he do that?
But that's not all. In that same confession, he said that you and he killed Chester. And he went into some very detailed accounts. Of when, where, how, why.
Well, I had a copy of the,
And this is Roger. This isn't Patrick. This is the good seed.
I don't know. I have no idea who it was he was talking to, if he was fiddling around with the cocaine again, or I have no idea.
Not that night.
I don't know if there's not anything I can say to that.
Was there a time at the Gaelic house when the garage was cleaned?
When it was clean,
Cleaned up. Clean. Or, I'm sorry, the Bacchus house.
Where you used to live before,
what do you mean was it clean?
that the garage had been cleaned out for any specific reason during the same time that Chet was found dead. Right about the same time. Where, and this is something that we're getting that, there was observations made, the detectives at the time, they go back out to the house, they took a look around, and they noticed what appeared to be sort of like a washout, like y'all had cleaned in there with,
Tell me about that.
No, there wasn't. To my memory, there wasn't, but I was asked about, that the detective asked me about, and remind me to tell you something else too. I had some, I didn't, Chet did, and I don't know what it was in the garage for, but, there were cleaning solutions in the garage. And it was, what was it? It was supposed to clean oil, and you buy it at the stores in a plastic thing. And it seemed, they said something about, it's supposed to be in plastic or it'll eat something up or something like that.
Mhm.
And they asked me about that, and I said, it's right there. That's where it's always been.
and they took that.
Oh, I don't remember if they
You
did or
don't know
not.
if they did.
I don't know if they did or not.
What was it used to clean, the garage for? What was it?
I don't know.
clean up?
I don't remember what it was for. I don't even know if it was for the garage. It could have been for the back porch. But see, the garage is the only place you'd have to, back is the only place to store anything was in the garage.
Well, I know because they did see, like it washing down, from the driveway onto the street or whatever, that's what caught their attention at the time. And it's why would be wanting to clean up the garage, with this very powerful, cleaning agent, because Chet, as we know, was not living there anymore, right?
No, he was there off and on, but he still has VOP.
But he wouldn't have been there trying to clean up something at the
Oh, he
house.
could have been. See, because we wrote orders from Naples, and that was a really good assignment for him. he had it arranged, so I was gonna teach English in Naples, for the, military kids. And I don't remember the name of the school or anything like that, but that's what I was going to do. And Roger was going to go to school in Naples. I guess we were not going to live in Naples. I don't remember exactly. But it was all arranged, so it would not have been unusual for him to be
It was all arranged by who?
the sponsor that we had, and I don't know who that was. See, like, if I was in the military right now, my husband was in the military, when we got orders for Italy, we would have a sponsor over there, and they would take care of finding us. Probably, I don't know if they have a post over there or what, but they would be sponsors or responsible for finding quarters and something that's big enough for your family. And they also, like in our case, we were real lucky they would find the best schools for the boys, because that was really important. We don't have to.
And you're under the impression that you, Chester, and the boys were going to Italy.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the orders?
He never showed me orders for anything. He would usually call me from Washington and ask me, would you like to go here or would you like to go there? You know, which one would you like to go?
Yeah, but he was here in El Paso.
Yeah. So I never saw orders. I never saw his orders that I recall anywhere for anything. It was just like, well, we're going to be going to Fort Bragg. And it would be, okay, I've got to hold that baggage. I have to pack and I've got the other kind of baggage I have to do.
As far as the cleaning of the garage, that happened a few days after Chester's death.
Oh, I got that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get out of bed.
What exactly, when they went to go tell you about what had happened and after the autopsy, did they ever explain to you how it is that he was killed?
That he was beaten to death.
And how, did they say
That
how?
he was they said he was out in the, well, he used to go out of town, out of, I don't know the road, but he would run in the desert. And they said that, from what they could put together, that he was running and that he was attacked by at least 3 people. But they don't know why.
But they don't tell you what kind of injuries he had?
Oh, I eventually got the death certificate.
And you
I
remember
saw
what
that
that said?
he was beaten to death.
And where did they hit him?
I guess everywhere. I don't know.
And from my understanding also, he also had some, what appeared to be stab wounds. You remember them telling you anything like that?
Well, I have a little metal box that's in, and it's at Gallant Court somewhere. I don't know where. I told Patrick when he found it to give it to me. And Patrick was supposed to be cleaning up Gallant Court, and he was doing nothing. So,
Roger and Patrick both tell us that they were cleaning the garage floor after their father's death because you told them to.
on
A couple of days after.
back a second.
On that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I know what that was.
Why?
I was gonna move. I wanted to move out of the neighborhood because all the neighbors that's all they wanted to talk about. That was the big talk in the neighborhood, and they were all coming over. You know, they would come bring something, but they wanted to talk about it. And I just said, I want to find some place in the neighborhood that I don't want right around here, because the neighbors were just coming over talking about it.
But that was the only area that got really cleaned out with this chemical? I mean, there was something else in the house that looked like,
I don't think that was. I don't think that house was clean with chemicals.
well, that's what it kind of looked like.
It may have looked like that, but there would be no reason to do that, unless the realtor. I don't know who that was either. Unless he or she, said to clean everything out. But
Shortly after your husband is dead, sheriff's officers and other officers, military, go to your house
one or two.
and they start tearing your garage apart. You have to remember that.
No, I don't.
You don't remember them cutting holes
In the
in the
wall.
walls of the garage?
Oh, I do, and I know exactly why.
Why?
They said this looks like blood, and you know what it was? You want to hear what it was?
By all means,
Guess what color Chet's Volkswagen was?
red, I know what color it was.
Well, it was kind of an orangey red. That's where his door hit the garage door, and if that evidence is still there, I mean, it's right there. It's just like they're
I
saying.
have it, I've had it tested.
Okay, well, that's what it is. It's but the Volkswagen door, the paint from the Volkswagen door, we thought it was a red Volkswagen, and we bought it because the lights were coming down, and it was orange. We learned it was orange after we got it, and that's exactly what it was. Just like they said, we haven't found the dagger yet, and I said, well, what dagger is that? Well, it's the dagger that was presented to him. Well, it wasn't presented to him, it was presented to me by the ladies' organization. And it was in my top drawer in my bedroom the whole time. It was right there. And they wanted to go to my room and say, help yourself. Right there in the top, in front of it probably still is there. Anybody could have gotten it.
And what was it? What was with the dagger? Tell me about the dagger. What was the interest in the dagger?
They thought that's what he was stabbed with. And he said, we want to go through the house. And I think when I went to the grand jury, that's what they did. And
So they're telling you that might have been used to, what you're saying?
yeah.
And that was never found?
No, I still have it. I still have
You
it.
still have that?
Well, unless somebody has been in the house and Galley Court got it. It's in my top drawer in the dresser. It was never used for anything. It was a presentation to me. It was on, like a plaque. One of the ladies' organizations. I used to take the new officers' wives on trips in North Carolina, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I would go into South Carolina because a lot of the best wood places in the nation make their furniture there. And we would go down and I'd say, while you're here, look at this furniture. This is the furniture capital of the world. Not the world, but the United States. And if you need anything at all, this is where to get it. Now, I would take them on trips around, showing them things they could take advantage of while they were there. And they gave me
You got the presentation, it'll come back in a little box and it's
Yeah.
got the shatter in there.
Mrs. Chester Garrett.
And that's still at your house? You know what, I don't understand, if Mr. Garrett wasn't staying there with you, and you're saying that drop, what I guess they believed at the time to be blood or what have you, right?
What drop? Oh,
You're saying
in
when
the
they're
garage?
telling you that's when they're tearing everything up. Why was his Volkswagen in the garage? I mean, would he park in the garage when he went over to visit you? Didn't you have your car in there, or how did that work out?
He parked it there all the time. I parked mine. He parked on his on one side and I parked mine on the other.
Inside the garage?
I think so. I think so. Not all the time. Sometimes it would be in the driveway. But yeah, it you know what the walls in your house are made of? Like, you know, you can cut out a place.
Sheetrock.
And that's what they did, so, you said you already seen it and checked it, okay? It was from the Volkswagen, so, the Volkswagen company could verify that, the same, whatever kind of paint they use, and Bob Hoy could also use it. I don't know what he did, with the Volkswagen, because they never told me what they did with it. I had no idea. I didn't know if it was supposed to be for evidence or what it was, but
So they never claimed for you to come and pick it up
No.
or anything like that?
no. In fact, you know, I was you know, when you buy, Texas is a community property state. That was in both our names, not to the best of my knowledge.
I'm having a problem with the cleaning of the garage. Chester is dead. He's been murdered. And a few days after that, we're scrubbing the garage floor with muriatic acid.
I don't recall that at all. I just don't recall it happening at all. And why would that be something to do at that time?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you, because both the boys tell us that you told them to do that.
To clean
You
up?
gave them the bucket, you gave them the brushes, you gave them the mop, you gave them gloves to wear because the acid said that you had to wear gloves. And you
I
directed
think
them to scrub. Let's hold that thought for a minute.
Okay, I think though, they're getting their times mixed up because,
We'll be right back. You doing okay?
yeah, okay. I'm a little bit cold, but.
You doing okay, Richard? I'm just cold. It's a little cold. We're trying to get this thing
I'm working.
turned off.
I'm working on it.
That's me, I'm really cold.
Okay.
I don't have thyroid, I need my medicine, and your thyroid keeps your body going,
So,
and so,
Okay. So, I said when we stopped, that's where I'm having a problem,
with what now?
with the garage.
Well, I told you what that was on the garage, is for the Volkswagen door. There was a freezer that was right in front of where the Volkswagen would park. And when you open the door, it would hit the wall. And, now you said you already know that that's the paint on the Volkswagen.
No, I didn't
No.
say that.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
Well, I'm sure they must have checked that because they cut a hole out of it. And I don't know if it was ever repaired whenever I moved it or not. I think I probably just let the relatives do it. But if that is somewhere in the evidence file, that would be easy enough to pull up.
Yeah, I've already got that taken care of. What about the acid?
The acid, I just don't know why
Like I said,
I have.
I wouldn't have so much of a problem with it if.
If I could remember, I would tell you.
Yeah, no.
I really do not know what that's primarily used
Yeah.
for.
And I'm trying to help you here, remember.
Okay, you know, the only thing I can think of is what can you clean oil if you have a dirty car, when your car's leaking oil, what do you clean the oil up with? That's the only thing I can think of. I've been trying to think, what would that be used for? Because an acid's not a good thing to have around your house, unless you have a need for it. Is it something you would use to clean up oil if you had a, well, I don't, what's it used for?
It's actually used for swimming pools.
For swimming pools. Well, we didn't have a swimming pool.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
what would be the reason to have that?
I don't know, unless, Chet had it from somewhere, or something, or someone gave it to him, or one of the boys, or something like that. But that's not something you remember, so I said, oh, something.
Especially Patrick was what, 12 years old at the time?
Yeah.
So he wouldn't know.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If someone says, we have this extra, take this time to your parents or whatever, something like that. That's the only thing I can think of, because I wouldn't have any, I wouldn't be doing that kind of thing anyway.
According to, like I said, according to both the boys, and here's where I have the problem, both Roger and Patrick say that you gave it to them with specific instructions on how to use it.
I don't know, unless it was for oil. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
But if there were specific instructions, it would have come from the bottle, because I am not in the chemistry business. I don't know up and down as far as that's concerned.
Why?
Unless Chet had it there for something, and I don't know. We were on orders for Nichols. Maybe he was going to get the oil cleaned up. I just can't say it's been too long. I don't know if I did.
But he was already dead. So
Oh,
this was days after his death.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Okay. And I said, Patrick, we know, was at the movies
Okay.
that night. And you had taken him to the movie.
I had taken.
Let's see what this,
I don't remember that.
him and his friend.
I don't remember that either. Seems like he went with somebody, but I don't remember taking him.
And Roger was supposed to pick him up. Roger never picked him up.
Well, Patrick had to have come home, or I would have notified somebody. How Patrick get home?
Oh, well, I know how he got home.
Well, how did he get home?
The boy that he was with, mother had to go and pick him up because Roger didn't.
Oh, okay. I know Roger. I don't know. Seems like Roger was playing a game with somebody, but it seems like he was at our house all the time. But that's just what it seems like, because I see the table in the kitchen and I know where they would sit and play the games. And so that's all I can think of. I don't know.
And you say that you and Roger were there that night? You were there all night?
Yeah, I wouldn't have been out anywhere.
Because that would have been, I don't know, a little.
You know, I was sick then too. I was having real bad problems with my swelling in my legs, and I couldn't move. And I had to be where my legs were up. We had to put the rocking chair in the corner and put the hammock in front of it, so I put my legs up. Because as soon as I put my legs down, they would pop down.
No, I was just gonna say that would also been a little bit out of the ordinary, being that, from where we're getting, is that day that Patrick went to the movies, it would have been on a weekday, being that he's still in school and whatever, that would have been sort of the out, ordinary. Why would we?
Christmas, New Year, holidays.
No, we've actually checked with the school and they were back in school, so that would seem a little bit odd. Why would they, that would be
Yeah.
necessary to
I don't know,
allow
if it
him to
was
go to
something-
movies on a weekday.
I don't know.
He's gotta go back to school and following that.
Unless it was, I don't know, one last chance before you go back to school, or if there was something, was there a particular film or something that they,
I think he makes mention of it. So we know he was at the movie.
So there was some, that's probably what it was. They probably wanted to see that film. I don't know if it would be the last showing of it or what.
Would there be any reason that you wouldn't want them to be at the house on that day?
No,
That you would want them out of the house for any reason?
it would be.
But when he came home, there was nobody home.
You know, that's not true because Pat told me, he said something about he knocked on the door and I didn't answer. And, he said something about that.
He said something about it when.
I'm trying to think when it was. I think that line or something, he said, when I knocked on the door and the front door's here and my bedroom is back in here. And if I had been in the bathtub or on the toilet or whatever it was, I may not have been able to hear it. But when I did get go to the door, I don't remember that either.
But then I think all the lights in the house had been worked on. All the lights were out at the house.
I don't remember.
I mean, as a 12-year-old boy, there's a 12-year-old boy who's at the movies. His brother is supposed to pick him up.
I think that the kid you went with, I think their parents were supposed to pick him up.
But Roger was supposed to pick him up, but he never showed up.
But I don't
So
think,
they waited there at the movies, and then the boy that he was with finally called his mother, and she went and picked him up.
okay, that's who I thought was going to pick him up, or in my mind, I seem to remember who were going to pick him up. So I don't know. It's been too many years to go back and remember, you know, the little things that happened at the time, and I couldn't tell you what it was they wanted to see since it was on
On a school night,
a school night.
at 7:30 at night.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any idea what it was that they would have wanted to see. I don't know. No one was failing. Everyone had good grades, so it wasn't like they were trying to, get out of going to school or something.
But, and then again, I gotta ask. Mom is a school teacher, and then I gotta say to myself, Mom's a school teacher.
Well, I wasn't.
I'm
I wasn't.
I'm 12 years old.
I was working hard.
It's a school night, and it's 7:30 at night, and I don't ever get to go to the movies on school nights. And
No,
This particular night.
I go.
I don't know who could answer that. I really have no
No, I'm
idea.
just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you see, I want you to see
Yeah.
what I'm seeing.
I was probably even, I could have been student teaching then. I could have been. I sure could have been.
What do you think about all this information that Roger's confessing to, that he has information he has put out about what happened that night? You know, he's told various people, exactly what happened that night. Why would he go to such extreme to
The only
lie
thing,
about something like that?
I don't know. The only thing, well, as I told you earlier, the only thing I can think about that, because I heard that from someone else that was a real good friend of mine, and is that his little coke thing. And
Why would he want you all implicated on
I
having
don't know.
anything to do with
I have no idea,
that doesn't make any
except
sense.
from some of the things that I have seen programs on, where people are on coke, it's like they are well, I don't know. I've never had a burn in my life, but it's like they say that coke is different from anything else. And once you get on coke, you're not going to go off. You're going to stay there and you go to heroin, or if heroin's higher than heroin's higher. I don't know. I just know that,
And this is, like I said, this is stuff that we're getting on, that's coming, where we've, talked to numerous people and stuff like that, and this is the information, that he put out several years ago. And if I'm not mistaken, that's what that is the story that he is sticking
you
to
would have to
and
ask him.
telling the detectives in Tennessee.
Now, like I said,
I don't know.
if I had Patrick telling me this, you know what Patrick's like, right?
Well, he didn't used to be like that, but yeah.
Okay. So if I had Patrick telling me this, okay,
He just had a warrant removed for him from here
I gotta think about that.
for the stuff he's been stealing from the house.
But like I'm saying, when
I think I'm gonna say this.
when I've got Roger
Uh-huh.
telling me this, Roger, and hear me out, Roger is confessing to killing his father.
I don't think it ever happened. I just don't think that ever happened. Unless he was high on drugs.
Well, and remember, I got two detectives sitting in Knoxville, Tennessee with him right now.
And he's saying that it was all your idea.
And then in 1995, I've got him saying the exact same thing. This is Roger, not Patrick. This is Roger saying the exact same thing in
You have to ask
1995.
Roger about that. I cannot answer that for him. I know he's not on drugs now. I know that, so I don't have any
When he's
idea.
got everything in the world to lose right now,
Yeah.
He's got a good life.
and he's confessing to killing his father. And again, in 1995. Or I'm sorry,
Well,
yeah, 1995. Roger is saying the exact same thing.
I don't know. Unless he thinks that makes you look like a big person or something, and that he could say that. And,
To admit to a bunch of detectives
Killing somebody?
I don't
that
know.
you killed your father,
I don't know.
and that
I can't think of anything. I don't know. I just don't know.
he and his mother planned it, and that his mother participated in it.
There's no way.
Why would you say there's no way?
Why would he come out with something like that?
Does it happen?
No. No. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe
Someone has come up with a theory.
maybe he has finally decided to come clean with it. He's been carrying this burden, over his shoulder for so many years. It is doing really good. And maybe, like you said right now, you
I
said,
think most of his time was spent at the house that night, off and on. I think that they have two games going at a friend's house and at our house, and
Roger said his mother was very methodical on how everything was done and how they would clean up after the murder.
must be another Roger.
There's only one Roger Evan Garrett.
you said earlier that for every bad thing that somebody does, and we're referring to Shed and what he was doing, that he will pay for what he's done.
Yeah.
And what have you, because at the end, we do become, we want forgiveness, we want understanding, we want closure, to come out and say, you know what, this is what really happened. How can you go your entire life with a lie like that knowing that it did happen, and being able to carry that still with you. Instead of saying, you know, this is something that was a long time coming.
What did he say about our trip to Naples?
What did who say that?
Roger.
Roger never said anything about the trip to me.
You all didn't go.
No, but we were going.
We're going.
We were going. And he was going to be able to go to school there and speak a new language.
And it was our understanding that Chet had made some, he pretty much plainly said that he wasn't going to take you all with them, which kind of started to spiral all this anger, and because you all wanted to go with him, and he wasn't planning to take you all.
That's not true. I don't know who said that. That's not true.
You know, so.
It's not true.
Patrick says in 1990 that his brother Roger confessed to him about committing the murder.
And where was Patrick in 1990?
December 1990.
Where was he? Where was he at that year?
This was at Roger's house.
What state?
Not sure. Roger moved around a lot.
Not unless Roger was trying to irritate Patrick. That's all I'm saying.
And again, my question is,
Why would you be trying to irritate him over this?
why would
I
you?
don't know.
Doesn't make sense, Mr.
And,
I don't know.
and especially when the details of what is said in 1991 and the details that are said
95?
in 95 are identical.
I have no idea.
If it was Patrick,
We might have had a
Saying
problem with it, but then we would have to,
I
talk
think
to more
twice
people.
about it. But it's not Patrick saying it, it's Roger saying it.
I do know about the cleaning thing that you were talking about. There was a time that we were going to move. Every time we would move from one post to another or one assignment, we would, starting with Congo Pass house across from Stanford School, I would get a house and make my very best deal with it. Go in and find, I usually fly in and find 3 houses, and Chet would have checked with his friends and people in Washington to find out where the best schools were and the ones that had the best reputations. And he would get in that neighborhood, and then I would fly in and pick 2, 3, 4 houses and talk to him about where they were, how far they were from post, and set in and get them fixed up. There may have been a reason I needed that cleaner. I don't know. I really don't remember, and I wouldn't even venture a guess. But there are always reasons for things that may not even come to you till later on. Just well, I remember now why this happened or why that happened. But I did fix up all the houses, repaint them, wallpaper, or whatever I needed, and we'd always get a better price for it. And so.
But like I said, we're going based off, a lot of what Roger has said, what the evidence leads to,
I get you
facts of the
do what you need
case.
to do. Just do what you need to do. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you this I remember. If there are things I don't remember, maybe you can tell me about it. But if you need to lock me up, do whatever it is you need to do, because there's not anything I can tell you I haven't told you. I'm struggling to remember everything I can remember. If there was anything that comes to me, I'll tell you. I can tell you that people at Eastwood, I was the student teacher there. My teacher there, her name was Rita Harlan. She knows we were all on orders for Italy, and she knows we were leaving.
Oh, we know that too.
Okay.
We were aware that he had received orders to go to Italy, but like I said,
Yeah,
No, she knew we were going.
we have that.
Going to Italy doesn't have anything to do with the fact that,
Well, you just got to understand that he had said we weren't going to go with him or something.
no, that's all.
So someone told him that. What did you say? Something like that.
Well, I said, would it have been possible that you all were upset because maybe he wasn't planning to take you all to Italy?
No, he wanted us to go.
You know?
There was, he had, a job was already lined up over there for me to teach English at the school over there. And it was already lined up for Roger to go to college in Naples. I don't know what town it was we were going to be stationed in. But no, it was all set up. The thing was ready to go. But I'll tell you what, I am getting tired.
They understand that. And what's gonna happen right now, you'll be going in front of the judge. He'll be advising you, giving you your rights again, what have you. You'll be getting booked into the county jail.
What's going to happen to my animals?
They have been, they've been picked up by somebody that can take care of them for right now.
Who?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check to see.
Our animal control people.
And, see, I don't know the procedure when you've been arrested, what happens.
That's what the detective was just explaining to you.
You'll, like I said, you'll be taken before a judge. After that, you'll be booked into the county jail, where you'll be locked up in one of the, you'll be locked up there until such time that you can either make arrangements to bond out of jail or wait for court or stuff like that. But that's down the line, okay? But right now,
What do you do when you bond out, and what does that entail?
Well, when the judge signs a warrant, he assigns a certain amount of bond. You're booked under that bond. So, I mean, it's something that you can either make arrangements to bond out or you can't. You either go to a bonding company or use other resources to try to help you get out of jail. Okay?
And what's Roger doing right now?
He's probably already done talking to him, and he's also being booked into their jail right now. Okay, so, I mean,
Well, I bet Susan's fit to be tied.
If you have anything at all that you can tell me about right now, about that night, and now, Mrs. Gare, quite honestly, is the time to do it.
Yeah, I understand that. I hear you. I'm not anxious to go sit in the jail. I can tell you that.
And again, for anybody to be telling us, this is what happened. Well, and I think if you remember back to when this whole thing happened,
I don't think
there
that's
was-
too much.
well, and I understand
It's
that.
not something to go
And
back.
I understand that. But if you think back to when this whole thing happened, there was a lot of speculation, even at that time.
Yeah, they thought they had the guy that was in Germany that did it.
That was
That's
all.
what the survival officer told me, was that they thought they had him. he had a dislike for black guys, and
Yeah, no, we're way past that. That was all shut down
okay.
35 years
A
ago.
long time.
Oh,
And like I said, when we have the speculation that your son Roger and you were involved in the murder of Chester Garrett.
I'm not surprised because I know that when something like that happens, the first people you look at are the family members. I know that.
Okay.
That's why I went before a grand jury.
And that was that. Okay, 35 years ago.
And the grand jury found me not guilty of anything.
And now we have Roger telling not one, but two people
You know,
that you and he killed his father.
there's something, that cannot be true, period. Maybe he thinks that's a big deal to do. Some people think that if you get notoriety, it doesn't matter whether it's on the stage or.
But see, when someone tells me
I understand.
I committed a murder, I can't just say, okay, you're under arrest. I have to have corroborating evidence to that. You can say anything you want to say, but when you say it to me with specific details, and then I connect
Okay,
those
sometimes
details
those
that you're
specific
telling me.
details come from someone else. Sometimes they come from people who hear other people talking about things.
But then what we look for are the specific details that only someone that was there would know.
Yeah.
And when you can answer those questions for me, I have absolutely no reason to believe that you're lying to me.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me that you committed this murder of your father, and you corroborate that with specific details
But see,
that only you would have known,
we had all the specific details.
and I have to use not all of them.
Well, I think so. The survival assistance officer was there, and they talked about it. I think they told us everything that happened. Part of it, I remember when they took us on that drive down to the morgue, and I think Roger said I just screamed. I don't know, but I said, well, he's all right. He's just sleeping. He's right there. And they wouldn't let me go over there. But those are pretty specific when they tell you exactly what happened. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know that it resulted in his death. So
What did they tell you happened?
that he was beaten to death, and that it was 3 or 4 people were. Well, I knew it was 3 or 4 people. One person wasn't going to do it. One big person wasn't going to do it, and I don't remember, but they wouldn't let me with it. I mean, they wouldn't let me get too close. For some reason, I don't know why. But when I saw him there, it was just kind of like. I don't mean that I think it was a joke. I didn't think it was a joke. I just couldn't get it to fit.
Why should I think Roger is lying to me?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why Roger would lie. I know that, Patrick has reasons to, be really happy if Roger and I could be put somewhere.
But this isn't Patrick, this is Roger.
But I don't know. Roger wouldn't have any reason to do that.
And that's exactly what I'm saying.
There's no more reason for him saying that it had happened, but only because it did happen.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Just do what you have to do. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and keep hearing the same thing over and over and over again. You can record it, listen to it. And
Okay.
my husband was a big, strong man. He was special forces. He got all kinds of awards. Someone's not going to do something to him.
Except someone that he trusts.
Or someone that has his skills.
Or to someone that he trusts, that he wouldn't ever think he would have to be defensive against.
He got caught totally, unprepared. He wasn't there, he was just relaxed in a situation where he felt comfortable, didn't feel a need to be watching himself,
Well, who has my animals?
Our animal control department.
Okay, is my room going to be locked up there at the place?
Yes.
Okay.
all your things, everything you have there, we'll make sure nothing happens to that, Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything at all, Ms. Garrett, you can take to tell us?
There's not. If there was, I would be telling you. If there's anything I can think of, if there's anything,
You tell them that, if there's anything at all that you want to talk to us about,
I
you
tell
have
you.
them, the people at the jail,
Oh.
you have them contact Detective Enchanto, okay, and she'll give you,
Could I have y'all's cards?
yes, she'll give you all the information.
I've never been in jail, so I don't know what to expect.
We'll explain it all as we go, okay?
Do you know if the police are the people?
I'm going to check right now.
If not, I can do it from here. You wanna sit over here, Ms. Garrett? Because I think that you're sitting right underneath this,
Let me show you
vent
that
here.
because I know it doesn't really matter now, but I've got,
It doesn't appear to be as cold over here anyway.
see my back?
This bruise?
No, see this?
Oh, the scar? Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a bruise on my back?
Oh, it kind of looked like it, but no, I don't think so.
Yeah. I've got
Did you have surgery?
I have a rebuilt back. I have titanium steel rods and big screws and nuts that are in there. And
Here, have a seat.
I'm just thinking, in the jail cell.
You need to make sure that you let them know any,
I'll
medical
say-
condition, if you were on medication for anything in particular. You let
But I
them know,
don't have a current prescription, so.
so that they can have, the doctor check you out, and if they need to put you on medication, they can do that for you, okay, but you need to let them know.
Well, I'm totally without power, but that takes a while to,
Right.
they have to run it and then have it come back and see. But,
They might ask you who your treating physician was, maybe they can, make contact with him.
I don't have one here. I haven't been on
Okay.
medication for a
While
while.
you've been here, okay.
Because my doctor is Dr. Christine Hernandez, and I understand she moved to San Antonio. And I was trying to find out who to go to, or someone to go to. all I really need I could do with thyroid, but, I was,
Yeah, and then, like I said, just let them know that way, that they're sure to make sure that, they're sure to, you know, take care of it for you. You know, be able, if they need to set up an appointment with a doctor there or something like that, they can get you started on the right medication, okay?
I doubt they're gonna do that.
Well, they're supposed to, if you need something, you know, they try to do their utmost to try to, you know, make sure that you're gonna be okay.
The thyroid's what I need, I need the thyroid, but, also, a fixer is an antidepressant. I've been on Christmas for quite some time. I've been without it. Part of it is Patrick's fault because he likes to eat and have a roof over his head, but he really doesn't like the idea of working.
Where is Patrick now?
I have no idea. Last time I saw him was when he grabbed my jewelry, went out the door, and he got my laptop first and went out the door. Gave it to someone around there, I guess, and then a hole, and then he came back and got my jewelry. And I went over to Galley to see about getting some clothing that I could get out of the house. And then he said not to go in the house. I said, oh, you know, she didn't want me over there because there's no heat or water or anything. And when I was over there in the coffee table in the living room, there were my jewelry boxes.
You were there?
So I took them back, and I'm sure he keeps the laptop somewhere because that's what he really wanted. So he could talk to his girlfriend all the time. So it would be like Patrick to do what he could, because Patrick wants to, in fact, I heard him one time, he denied it, but I swear to God, I was in the, out in the garage, and,
I had her sit over there because.
Yeah, no, that's
yeah,
fine, that's fine.
you're right.
Cold air.
Yeah.
The judges already get contacted, so as far as this interview is concerned, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and terminate it at 7:40 p.m. Okay?
Y'all get in the cars?
Yeah, we'll get all that,
Okay.
alright?
And
Is
just
that okay? You need something else to drink, something to snack on?
No,
Okay.
I need to, be honest, what I need to do.
Yeah. I wish we could make that happen for you.
Well, you know, what happens. And you know anything I can do with that?
Well, just have a seat here, we'll be leaving here in a little
Sit
bit.
down for a couple of minutes. We're gonna get you some information. Oops. No, I'm sorry. Okay.
Prosecutors charged Lisbeth Garrett and her son Roger Garrett with murder. Investigators say Lisbeth's marriage to Chester had been falling apart. The decorated army officer had been seeing another woman and was considering divorce. Lisbeth feared losing the military pension and survivor benefits she would receive if Chester died while they were still married. So she enlisted her teenage son Roger to help carry out the attack. Roger struck Chester in the head with a baseball bat inside the family home, before Lisbeth stabbed him multiple times. The two later placed Chester's body inside his Volkswagen Beetle and abandoned the car in the desert. In 2013, Roger Garrett is convicted of murder and sentenced to 40 years in prison. 2 years later, Lisbeth Garrett is also convicted of murder. She is sentenced to 45 years in prison.